Welcome to the JunkYard Rat Show, Season 5, Episode 5. This is our Cinco de Mayo episode. And look at who we got here. Finally, we got you in the studio all the way from Seattle, moving to Hawaii. It's Dante Barnett. How you doing, Dante?
You know, it's funny you say that. We actually recorded on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
And now I'm in studio for the Cinco de Mayo show.
Hell yeah.
God. I better not buy a lotto ticket today.
Yeah, right.
I'm fan-fucking-tastic. This is the beginning of my journey to move to Hawaii. So
it's exciting.
And I see you're intaking lots of fluids and liquids. You have water, tea, beer, and then multiple vape pens.
Well, when you're on heart medications, you got to stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
Right? You got a lot of fluid, pills and shit going through you. And last night I went to Cinders in Sacramento.
Okay.
And did an open mic. And then I went to another wonderful establishment, or hole in the wall, however you want to say it.
Right. How was that? How was your time? How much time did you get at an open mic?
So it was funny. So my friend runs the open mic. We get there. And I don't know, our users might understand. When you're from out of state and you go to an open mic, your expectations are like down.
Yeah.
Right?
It's better to have them low and then and get pleasantly surprised than have your thoughts and hopes crashed or dashed.
Because when you're new, right, and you go out of state to open mic, you think it's a show, and you make a flyer, and you tell everybody you're on fucking tour, and you get there, and there's 10 comics and 2 people. Right,
especially if it's somewhere it's happening, and like
it's a Sunday. It's a Sunday. It's not like we're talking a Friday mic or something Monday,
right?
But I had a fucking blast. One of the things we talked about with the comics is when you first start, your most important times in comedy are when you're on the stage. Right. After about 4 to 5 years to about that 8-year mark, you start learning that your best times in comedy are not on stage. It's the hangout afterwards.
It's the hangout afterwards.
It's the scrum before. It's the shit talking. It's all of that really entertains you, makes your heart go. Your stage time's going to go, but who's listening at a bar to open mic on a Sunday?
Right.
I don't know.
It's to go hang out with your friends and
enjoy. Right? And that's when you first start, you want everything to be perfect. You want to be able to, crush shows, and you think, oh, I'm getting 3 minutes. It's going to be the best 3 minutes you ever had.
I'm going to be on, Conan O'Brien.
Oh, my God.
Era you're in.
I just fucking killed it in Chico. Wait till they see me in New York, right?
Right.
No, that's not how this works at all, right?
Here I come, Hollywood.
So it's back to reality of, especially with me moving to Hawaii and some of the things I'm really doing.
Right.
This is where comedy starts. If you're not having fun on the journey, because most of us aren't going to get a Netflix special.
Okay.
Almost all of us aren't going to ever make $1 million off of comedy.
Right.
I'm gonna get a documentary from Netflix.
Well, I mean, the creeper in comedy is kind of a new thing, right?
No, my goal is to be in like the dark side of comedy. You know the dark side of comedy that on what's that channel? On Vice?
What is it? Vice. Yeah. The dark side of comedy where they have the dramatizations of other people's lives.
Yeah.
Like I saw one on John Belushi, and the guy just did not look like John
Yeah.
Belushi. I look more like John
And that's
Belushi.
that's what I was
Yeah,
saying.
so
I could see you
That's
being
one
the
of my
Crash story.
goals. I mean, I've seen like
Oh,
the
you want
dark.
to be an actor on Vice TV and play like?
No, I want an
You
episode.
want to play the corpse of John Belushi?
I want to be in the. I want to have a dark side of comedy episode about me because
okay.
I've seen all the
you know
wrestling
you've made
ones.
it. When?
Yeah.
That was actually my opening joke. I was like, "Oh, I'm in Roseville," and then the next was, "I'm in Citrus Heights. I've made it, everybody."
Did you go to the Boxing Donkey?
No.
Wasn't there? There's a club in Roseville called the Boxing Donkey because I used to make the Sacramento rounds.
It's where he met his ex-fiancée.
Yeah,
It's a romantic.
my
tale.
Was he the donkey or
Yeah,
was she the donkey?
you got
Which
it.
one?
You got.
Oh.
You're ahead of the game. You're ahead of the game.
Hey, they call that a donkey punch. Oh, sorry, I didn't.
Yeah.
Never mind.
And
Like-
after that, they called it a.
I used to only bang like liberals back in those days. Now I'm banging like a boxing
Banging
elephant. and
liberals.
stuff.
Right.
I switched animals on.
When he used to have a T-shirt that says, "I'd rather be banging liberals."
Oh yeah. I did a show Friday at May's Moisture House.
Moisture House.
That's
You're telling me.
well, the woman who runs
it's
the
an
show.
oyster house.
The woman who runs the show, she renamed the, and it was cool
Her
because
oyster was a little moisture.
they had us for 2 shows. They had us like at 7 and 9, so we did like 5 minutes on both shows. But I noticed most of the comedians did the same exact jokes both times.
Okay, new rule of the show. If you have a pen in front of you, you either should be using it or pass. There you go. Look at that.
Yeah.
He even knows the rule.
Not me.
You got one over there, too.
Not me. Well, I thought you were talking about writing jokes.
I want that sucker dust.
I didn't realize you were talking about weed pen. I thought you were making a comment about people got to write jokes.
By the way,
Oh.
this is the new roach
Yeah,
of the
they do.
millennium. This is. Remember how we used to save roaches? These are the
new
roaches of the new millennium.
Because
The
you
3
can-
hits left in your cartridge.
I got
Yeah,
a question
there's like
for
3
you.
hits.
I need advice because I'm going on a cruise to Mexico. And you've been on cruises? Can you smoke weed on a cruise? Or it seems like
So
you probably
first
would.
off, I've never been on.
You never been on a
Black
cruise.
people don't like boats like that. You know what I mean? We gotta lean into it.
It's true.
The second one,
We gotta
lean into it, right? The second one is being a white guy, you might be able to get away with it. Being a person of color, I don't risk drug charges in international waters. I don't think that is. What do you think? Have you seen those videos of what is the mule show? I forget what it's called, but it's kind of like locked up, but for people who get caught smuggling or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then dude's like, man, I only tried to take 10 pills of ecstasy and I got caught and I got 37 years in a Russian prison. My name's Vladimir, but they fuck me and call me Whitney now. Like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
the reason.
wasn't there a basketball player who got busted with a bunch of vape cartridges?
Brittany Griner, WNBA.
She didn't get busted with a whole bunch. Got busted with 1 cart.
No, I thought it was more. It must not have been.
No.
one.
No.
It was a single.
Oh,
cartridge.
yeah,
It was
a
less
single
than what
cartridge.
we have. It's
Well, she
these
should have
3
brought.
here are more than what she had.
She needs this. This stuff is like a syrup, but the whole thing is like 1,000 milligrams of my cyanides. But I'm not even. Yeah,
You can't do that in Russia.
No, you can't.
You can't.
Take a sip
Russia,
of it.
cannabis is not legal in Russia. Where are you getting your?
Cannabis isn't legal anywhere. I mean,
Yes, it is. It's
Wait.
legal in Washington State.
oh, that
It's
is
legal.
true.
It's legal in the state that I live in.
Well, no, I went
And
to.
I don't plan on. I don't plan on flying to that state. What is it called? Federal land. And so no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm staying right here. And even so they wanted to make sure I didn't get a
Yeah.
what is it called? Smart ID. No, it's not
Yeah.
Smart ID. Yeah.
I just got my
That's
smart
smart.
ID.
Real ID.
Real ID.
I got the smart one. I didn't have to wait
I
in line
just-
or anything.
I just got my real ID
So
actually.
Here's the best part about that one. So I've been in Washington State. Here's our real ID so everybody can see.
Yeah, there you go. Make sure you take copies of that.
It says
Zoom in.
enhanced, right?
Yeah.
But it's got a hologram and it's got a flag on here, and I've never noticed the flag before. The flag is what tells them I'm a U.S. citizen. That's one of the markers.
So where's the enhanced? Oh, that flag.
Alright.
So
Right.
in our state, which I'll show you, which I showed us last week, but I'll show it to you.
Yeah, this is a national
on
ID.
ours, right above the guy panning for gold, there's a bear right here, and he has a white star. The white star looks like it's his asshole. It literally looks like the bear has a. So I don't have an enhanced one. There would be a bear, California bear, right there with a white star on its ass.
So it's funny you say the star part because they said your enhanced ID should have a star. Mine doesn't have a star.
They tried to do that to me, but I told them there's no way I want like a bear on my ID. I don't want anybody confusing. I don't want anybody looking at me weird. If
He doesn't want a bear on his ID. He just wants a bear on his
cock.
bed.
Oh, sorry.
Hey.
Damn, we were so close.
Same thing.
Same thing.
So so I don't want the bear, but I did get my real ID. I went to the DMV at Dublin Pleasanton Mall, Stone Ridge. There's a DMV inside the mall, and I actually got it, but they almost gave me some trouble because my passport and my ID have two different first names. I was born Cristiana Alejandro.
That's right. We got to call ICE. I could have a new podcast. We can get him out of here.
Yeah, they're starting to take. So they're starting to even take away
white people.
Yeah, me. Oh. Yeah, they're starting to take away old white people like me.
No,
I'm
one of the only people that will tell you if I get deported, I'll go. Just get me a plane ticket. Send me back to Europe and stuff.
So my funny story, my current story
Amsterdam,
that makes me laugh is so they imported all the South Africans, right?
Right.
But guess who they look like?
Huh.
You.
Oh yeah. Well, I know.
They immigrated all these. They taken all these.
Well, that's what I was telling who was I telling that to? I said something about. I go, there's a lot of Africans that are white. I go, they're South Africans. And they're all apartheid, and they all talk all sketchy like Elon Musk and weirder.
Well, that's why Elon Musk does all these Nazi jokes, because the Nazis were in power in South Africa until the 1980s.
Well, there's two things I'll say to that. So I had a friend back home who got mad because I tell him Jewish is not a people. Jewish is a religion.
Faith. Right.
And so he got mad and said, well, there's a certain group of Jews that this, that, and the other. So, okay, but that's those Jews. And I didn't know you were saying you were the original Jews.
Oh, you mean like, okay, so you mean like Hasidic Jews? The guys
there you
with
go, right?
The little curly things.
But at
on
the
same
same point,
hats
you're living in America now, and you're 20-something generations, right? In the same breath, white people in South Africa are not fucking African. Just like I'm not Native American. You're not Native American.
They're not indigenous to the land.
Right? They're fucking white people.
Right.
And I remember about 8 or 9, maybe 10 years ago when the shit really started happening over there. When black people were just like, oh, you're white? Yeah, give me your land. Right. Oh, you're white? Give me your business. Oh, you're white? Pull your panties down. And there's a video of this lady talking about, it's so bad. We're getting treated so horribly because of the color of our skin. And all I could do was laugh. Like, oh.
Well, isn't that why you're here? Because you're going to take over the station because Paul's white. You're like, you're a white man. I'm going to take over your station because you're a white man.
Because we still have DEI here in San Francisco.
Well, it is the Oddfellows building. So the Oddfellows are a fraternal organization that goes back over 100 years.
But he wants to make sure that
hold on. The name of this building fits the way I was met. You got 2 hippies sitting in the fucking lobby. You got another hippie running the fucking elevator.
Oh, no, they switch off running the elevator. So next time you go, it will be the other guy.
But it's just
they Rochambeau or they rotate.
It's called Oddfellows, and I walked in. I was, these are some Oddfellows. This is the
Oddfellows.
Yeah, this is a fucking wonderful space.
There's a ballet school up there. They got like a bunch of ballet dancers and stuff.
Yeah, they have a world-renowned ballet school.
I saw like 3 ballerinas one time on the elevator with me, and they were like looking bad at one of them because she had some snacks. The other 2 were looking at her like, "Why are you eating snacks?
You're eating.
You should have said something to him like, "Oh, what are we studying in class today?"
Oh.
And then they would have looked like, "You're a ballerina?"
Yeah.
No.
I've let myself go a little. But
I'm gonna take over the studio like the Mariners have taken over the AL West.
Shit.
Oh, we need a dun 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 dun.
You know that's not gonna last. Because when was the last time the Mariners actually won the AL?
How's Shohei Ohtani doing?
When was
How's
the last-
Ohtani
when
doing?
was the
Here we
last
go.
time-
How's Ohtani doing?
This is gonna
Hey,
be
man.
good. This is live.
I hate to tell you
I'm
that.
just asking you. How's Ohtani
Well,
doing?
You know what Otani was doing?
Same with the 49ers. When's the last time you
what
won a
Ohtani
Super
was
Bowl?
doing this weekend? He was getting his ass kicked by the Angels because they swept him this weekend.
That's why you wanted you here in person. You wanted
Yeah.
to be able to ridicule you in
But
person.
when was the last time the Mariners actually won the AL West? Like,
You're right. You're
I don't
right.
think you were even alive when the Mariners
Are
won.
you fucking full of
Have
shit?
the Mariners ever won the AL West since you've been alive?
Are you fucking retarded?
What was the last time they won?
What's the record for wins in the Major League Baseball?
Oh, that's right. They did win.
Are
it
you
that
fucking
year.
retarded? Are you fucking?
Yeah.
You are fucking retarded. We
What
won the
happened?
AL West before the last time the 49ers have won a Super Bowl. How about
That
that?
is true. That is true. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't know.
There's
You
your
know,
air horn.
I don't know. I got the Rangers winning it all this year, and that's because of the manager.
Next to your crock.
The Rangers manager is the former Giants manager, and he won it three. He won it 3 times, but he took a break between years. So I'm thinking last year wasn't the Rangers who won it. It was the Dodgers who won it
So
last
if
year.
I'm being honest with you, as a stats guy, I did our first 7 games this year, right? And
Yeah.
I worked with the A's, and I worked with Detroit,
Yeah.
and then right before I left a couple weeks ago, I did the Marlins series,
hmm
and they had won 9 straight series, right? But watching them, it's hard to believe that they're not going to get better.
Yeah.
They're in first place. They're 6 games over 500. Their number 1 pitcher is really their number 4 pitcher right now, right? They're missing their second baseman. They're missing the outfielder. They're missing somebody else too that's big on that side of the ball. Luke Raley, their utility guy. So you're telling me you're missing 3 of your starter rotation. You're missing Matt Brash, Thornton, and another reliever because there's 9 people they're missing. So they're missing 3 starters, 3 relievers, and 3 starting pitchers. That's pretty fucking good,
Right.
and then they picked up the guy from Tavares from Texas after getting cut. That was a sneaky move. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Leonidas or whatever. They picked
No.
up Tavares. So he was playing right field the other day before I left, and I was like, okay, so you got Robles, Tavares. If they could trade for a corner infielder, you guys aren't going to have anything to talk.
all I
I mean,
can
we're
say-
talking base. No, don't talk your
all-
bullshit.
all I
Let's
can
talk
say-
baseball. This is
No,
a professional.
I'm gonna be honest with you. You don't sound like somebody who got thrown out of Washington State. Has to move to Hawaii or something.
I'm choosing to
You're
move to
you're like all excited, like you didn't even want to see the Mariners play. You were trying to get out before the season.
I really
started.
don't give a shit anyway. I mean,
I know
there's-
you don't give a shit, but I'll be honest with you. Baseball's 162 games. Like I don't really
What,
give
pace
a fuck.
yourself? Are you saying pace yourself, or there's plenty of time to get happy, sad, and
I'm
aggravated?
saying
and
there's a
everything
whole
all-
summer of 100. There's a whole summer out there.
Doesn't matter.
You just never know. But what I am saying right now, if you're near a casino, I suggest you put money down the Rangers winning it all. That is what I'm trying to tell you guys. And because now I'm betting on that one guy, Bruce Bochy. What's his name? The former Giants manager. I'm betting on that motherfucker. I don't give a fuck. Who's that fucking Mariners manager? What the fuck has he done?
What have you done for me lately?
So
I mean,
ask a question, get a professional answer. So there's 2 answers to this. A lot of people, especially in Seattle media, felt like Dan Wilson being hired as the manager was bullshit. He has no experience. He's never done anything. How do you go from being a catcher's whatever to the head coach and all these different things? Well, let's talk about it. Dan Wilson was a hell of a catcher, right? Until a couple weeks ago, he was our leading home run hitter, right? Whatever. Dan Wilson, if you've caught and you've managed multiple pitchers for multiple years, you know more about the game than anybody else. Catcher is the hardest position in baseball, right? So you've got a manager who's growing into who he is. They got Edgar Martinez as a hitting coach. They've got Jay Buhner as a advisor. They've got Ichiro in the building every day. They just signed on Ken Griffey Jr. So what I'm saying to you is when you build something new, especially unique, sometimes it takes a little bit of euphoria, a little bit of nostalgia. And so to think that that 95 team, that my oh my, the team that actually put the Mariners on the map, those same guys combined with the 2001 team are all now in the building. The greatest Mariners ever are finally coaching these young Mariners who could be great on what it's like to be great. And I think that rubs off.
Most managers former catchers, though. I think
a lot of them.
Half of the managers are like, I think it's because they're always there. They're doing the pitching count,
It's kind of like a lot of coaches are quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
From the same idea, or free safeties because you're in charge of the whole defense. You don't see a D tackle becoming a head coach because he's never had to learn anything but go get the fucking ball, right? Like you don't see a guard becoming head coach because it's full. I mean, sometimes, but there's certain positions in each sport where you think more as a catcher.
Yeah.
You know more about the game. You're telling everybody where to shift. You're making sure you're in a double play, or you're shading left, or you're shading right. You're keeping track of outs. You're always the last one to worry about a throw home. You've got to protect the plate. You've also got to back up first, back up third. You've got to be in line. It's a foul tip. Not only do you have to catch the foul tip, but you got to remember where people are on base. Even if it was a strikeout, you got to make sure you didn't get a steal. Even if it was a walk, if they're on second, you can't let them steal third. Like, as a catcher, obviously, if you didn't know I played catcher, you are always on it.
I used to play catcher. I used to be a catcher, but I remember when my coach told me I needed a cup. I had no idea what the hell he was telling me. I was a catcher in Little League. Because I was terrible. Back then, I don't know how I ended up being a catcher. I don't know how fast they were throwing the ball, but yeah, and to this day, like I have bad knees. I always wonder, like, maybe I shouldn't be catching. Like maybe that was not. I mean, maybe part of the reason why my knees are bad is because I had to catch. One time, my brother was an umpire of my game, and he called me out on strikes. I've never forgiven him for it. What do you think, man? I never forgive him for it. Like, how you gonna call me out? He called me out on strikes. My own older brother. It's tragic.
Didn't we talk about this last time when
it sounds like it's a deep, deep wound.
Yeah, not only that, but like a competitive athlete versus just an athlete.
Terrible.
Yeah, he knew where I was going.
I was terrible. In fact, you know how I like the uniforms. That's how I ended up in Little League for so long. I'm into the uniforms and stuff. But I don't even think I even got a hit my last year in Little League. I was terrible.
Jesus Christ.
I was bad. I got on base, though. I tried to steal a base. And you know how bad I was? This is a true story. This is really crazy, but they were teaching us the signs, And I thought, I don't need to know the fucking signs. I'm not even going to get on base. I didn't even bother to learn the signs, dude. But yeah, I was bad. What can I say? I was just bad. And to tell you the truth, I shouldn't have been that bad because when I was in PE class in high school, my teacher taught me that the reason I wasn't hitting the fucking ball in softball is because I wasn't taught how to hit the fucking ball. Because I was in high school, I hit like a bunch of fucking balls out of the park.
I don't think that's a good excuse. There's a lot of fatherless kids who made it to the major leagues because their dad.
My dad was a foreigner. He never
it made him
baseball.
Play better.
Oh, and their all dads were foreigners. They no speak English, but they hit ball with stick.
We lived in Venezuela.
Like Sprechen the Deutsch, Fräulein.
We lived in Venezuela. I mean, baseball was big when I was a kid, but I was born in Chile. I don't even think they even have baseball to this day and stuff. But that's no excuse. I was just terrible. What the fuck can I say? But the truth is, I wasn't really taught technique, But I do have my sports that I'm really good at. Rolling joints. I'm a good roll joiner.
Eating donuts.
Eating donuts. Drinking
unwrapping candy.
The things you wouldn't think you would
Candy's
be doing
hard.
in the water. Right?
Candy's hard. I use my mouth to open
I
up.
knew you were gonna say that he
wrappers.
does it with his tongue.
I'm old school. I'm old school. People don't realize old school
How
means.
old school are you?
Old school means that if you can't get the little baggie open, and these weed bags they're hard to open. I just go for my mouth.
I could go for like 10 minutes on old school. You know I have a bit that's old school. How old school are you?
Old school.
I'm VHS porn old school.
Oh yeah.
I still have a beeper over there on my backpack old school. And I'm not a doctor or a dealer.
Did you ever have a beeper? Are you from the beeper generation?
I used to call popcorn old school.
So I'm from the generation of the beeper, yes. But if you had a beeper, you were a dope boy. I never had a beeper.
Or a doctor.
I think back then it was
Dope
common.
head or a dope boy.
Nah.
Oh.
I think at the end it was common for people to have beepers, you know.
No, it wasn't the beeper. I'm about to say a word that we haven't heard in a while. It's when the Sidekick came out with the fucking rotating screen. Remember that?
Oh,
thing?
yeah, okay.
The first real smartphone, and everybody could get their games, and they had their own keyboard.
The
And,
QWERTY keyboard.
right? And the BlackBerry era. Remember those?
Yeah, the BlackBerry. Did you see the BlackBerry movie? They came out with a movie about the company BlackBerry.
No, I did not.
It's really good. Yeah, it's actually a Canadian company, but no, you got to check that movie out. It's called
like
BlackBerry.
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Hey.
Like that fly.
Talking about
Like that
movies,
fucker.
I saw the craziest fucking movie. It's called The Surfer. It's Nicolas Cage. The shit is traumatic. It's fucking traumatic.
Is it like The Machinist? Do you remember
The
that
Surfer.
one?
With Nicolas Cage.
It's like The Machinist. Yeah, where it's just this dark, nothing movie, and out of nowhere people are getting killed. And then, yeah, you know what? It's him. Yeah, he's the crazy.
What do you guys think about Nicolas Cage playing Madden?
Oh yeah, he's playing Madden,
He's
and
gonna be played in Madden.
what's his name is
And
playing?
then who's
Christian
the other person?
Bale.
Time out. When's the last time he made a good movie?
Nicolas Cage. It's called The Surfer, motherfucker. It's on in the theaters right now. It's in the. I
Is he
swear to
blowing
God.
you to make that fucking statement? Are you getting Nicolas Cage
Hey,
rose
man.
up?
Hey, dude,
It's
Nicolas.
in theaters
Hey,
right now.
hey, Nicolas
Right
Cage
now.
is like family. We're in the Coppola district. You know, we're nearby North Beach. Nicolas Cage is like, I don't know. I like the guy. I mean, he's a good actor, but yeah, he plays the
What?
same. He plays the same thing
What's
every time.
whoa, stop.
It's called The
Stop.
Surfer, mother.
No, motherfucker.
What's the best
Go
movie
back.
Nicolas Cage
Go back.
has ever
Shut
been?
the fuck up.
What's the
Point
best
Break?
movie?
What?
What's the best movie Nicolas Cage?
Point Break. I know, that's why it was the best movie you've ever been in.
Come on, there's one movie.
Sorry.
His first movie.
Valley Girl.
It wasn't Valley Girl. There was one before Valley.
Debbie
Girl.
Does Dallas? I don't know. What.
Debbie was pretty good though.
I'd say his best movie that he's known for is Gone in 60 Seconds.
That was a good movie.
What's the Nicolas Cage movie I watched the most? Either has to be The Rock or National Treasure. That's because it's the one that's always on TV the most.
Well, he was in the movie with Stacy's mom. You know Stacy's mom? You know Sean Penn? You forget he was in that movie in the early 80s with that pool scene where that brother.
Oh, he was in Richmond.
He was Fast Times in Richmond High. That's
You know what? So here's the thing.
He
Is
was in Fast Times in
being
Richmond
born
High.
in 81 and not being all white,
Yeah.
I've never really watched Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Dude, you gotta check that shit out, dude. It's one of the best, and you gotta
Like I know this line.
not even
what's
the
the
cable.
best? What's
no.
the best part about high school girls? I keep getting older. They stay the same age.
Oh
right?
no, that's
Is
that's
that the
Dazed and Confused.
I don't I there was a time when I was in high school and everybody was watching those movies and I was too
Yeah.
busy playing sports, getting grades, and it would just seem like white culture to me at that time.
Hey man, you know, for somebody, but you're not like you're running away from minorities. You're going to white culture in a way. Isn't Hawaii like a white country?
You have no clue what
I've
you're
never been in Hawaii.
I hate
but
it when he does
no,
that
but
shit.
what
He
I'm
just-
saying,
you
is,
gotta stop just saying ignorant shit to say it. You gotta stop
I'm
saying
a comedian. Half of the shit I say is supposed to be ignorant.
Yeah, but I
It's
want to. It
supposed to
makes me
be-
want to punch you in the throat, and I'm close
Hey,
enough to punch
hey,
you in the throat
hey.
now. Only one
No,
time. I only got
no,
one good, two
no.
good punches. in.
Instead of punching me in the throat, just tell me I'm gonna buy you a plane ticket. Come
No,
and visit
I'm
me.
definitely not bringing your howly ass to Hawaii. So there's
hey,
two
man,
things to think about.
I
when you
love
think about-
spam though. I love spam. You know, I love spam. You know, my mom went to Hawaii last year. She almost drowned and shit. She almost drowned. Did I tell you? Yeah, she almost drowned. So I hope, like I'm gonna have to keep her safe on the cruise. Like, I can't believe I'm gonna be like in a cruise with my mom.
Why did I
You're gonna
think-
be on a cruise with your mom for like 4 days.
4
in
days
the same room.
in the same room. Like,
Mama's boy, huh?
well, you know,
I've seen that video.
You
before.
still
I've
suckle?
seen that
I've
video
seen
before.
I live with my mommy. My mommy and I are. My mommy's like one of my best friends.
I have
yeah.
frequented that video before.
My mommy's one of my.
That's my
best
second
friends.
favorite genre.
Oh, yeah, that's I've doom scrolled right
mom,
through there.
My mom is my
Took a little
financial
tiptoe
advisor.
through the tulips.
My mom is everything.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I want
stepmom.
to give a
It's
My
only
mom-
stepmom.
My mom was my first roommate. You know,
Yeah.
she was my first.
Are you
roommate.
that creep? You tell girls you got a roommate, and you're like, yeah, my mom.
Hey, I live with my mom. What? You know what? I'm 53.
The funny thing is,
Let
we
me
were
tell
talking-
you something now. Let me tell you something.
Please tell us.
I'm 53. I don't lie about my fucking age. I don't lie about the fact I live with my mom.
You're
If,
supposed to say-
if you
you're
don't
supposed to
like the
stand up and
fact I
say,
live with
"I'm
my
Chris."
mom, what can I do about it? I'm not gonna sit there and make up lies and
You're
shit.
supposed to stand up and go, "Hi, my name is Chris. I'm a comedian.
I'm going
Hey.
nowhere in life.
It's
I
true.
live with my
It's
mom.
true.
I'm going on a
Mhm.
romantic cruise
with
with
my
my
mom.
I
mother."
No, with my mommy.
I It's gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot.
Gotta change the temp with my
It's gonna be hot. You know, I got plans for the fucking cruise. Ask me about my plans.
What is your plan?
I brought
One of my
oils
plans-
and all kinds of
One of my plans is to get some cigarettes in case I get bored and just smoke cigarettes in the casino because they got smoking areas. So I've never been on a cruise. I
That's
don't.
effective.
But
That's effective.
basically-
he can lose his money and get cancer at the same time.
Basically, ask me by the second day. I'll have the whole place mapped out. The first thing I'm gonna do is because not
But
only that,
it's only
but
a 4-day cruise. That means he spends a day going out, a day on the sea. By the time he figures it out, they'll be heading back to port.
well, that's
Well, and the funny thing is, you
That
said
was the
a day or
point.
two, you'll have the place down. You'll have it all mapped out. We call it casing the
that
joint.
was the point. You know what I told my mom because I used to get really dizzy when I was a kid. So I said, let's just go on a small ass cruise. Just
Small-ass
at
cruise.
first, just to see how things go.
No, hold
This
on.
is-
I'm
be the
not
small
going
ass
for
cruise.
like.
I don't. You know why I
This
don't
is the
cruise?
yellow bus
Because
of
what he's
cruises.
talking about right
I'm
now.
not going on a 2-week cruise because my dad was in the Naval Academy. He said he used to get sick all the time on the ships. He was in the Naval Academy in Chile. And so I kind of thought, you know, why jump into a 2-week cruise? I get on and I'm sick for 2 weeks. Let's just do like a little cruise. You
Like I
know?
said, lean into it.
Lean
Hey, man.
Lean into it, right? Lean.
It was but Paul's upset because he's doing a show here on Friday.
Yeah, we're having an event here Friday.
And
so.
I'm not gonna be here. And
Bastard.
so,
I know, and I'm not gonna be here either. Damn it, Paul.
I know.
See?
It was all shitty.
You should have done it last Friday.
I'm
I could have
telling you.
been here.
I'm telling you.
I'm telling you.
You know,
Could've-
it's. I'm glad you brought up cruising, because, and I want to say this to everybody, and I want to commend you honestly. At 53, you're doing something new. At 43, I'm moving to Hawaii, right?
Oh yeah.
At 46, he stopped sucking cock. Like, it's great. Good job, Paul.
Thank you.
I don't think he ever
But-
stopped.
It was 45. Give me a little bit more
Yeah.
credit than that.
Well, let me tell you something else that I did. When I was 29, I went back to Chile for a year and a half. So I always tell people that if you're a foreigner, you come from a foreign country, maybe you should spend like a year in that country later on, just to just to get a feel of what it's like, you know. So at 29, I went back to Chile. but my roomie like followed me, so I came back.
I can't. I've been to Tijuana, right?
I've been to Tijuana. Yeah,
and not like you went to Tijuana, you fucking pervert. But I went to Tijuana, and I went to the Arches, right? And that's where they have like all the American restaurants, the Domino's, the McDonald's, the Burger King.
Yeah.
And they're all on the same block, like you're in Vegas, like it's a strip. And then there was a back alley that had some restaurants, and I went through there. And then I just walked around, and I don't think people in America know what the difference is between going to a country like Chile or Argentina or Zimbabwe, or really going somewhere where it's not first world, right?
It's true. One of my neighbors, he was telling me all these things about South America he loves. He reads books. He looks at documentaries, right? He's been all over Europe. And I asked him, why didn't you just go? Why? I mean, you know all this stuff about, he knows more about South America than I do. I'm like, why didn't you just go one day, Go to Brazil. Everybody I know goes to South America. They always go to Argentina or Brazil,
Well, you know what it is? It's fear.
Argentina's Buenos Aires is one of the best party towns in the world, dude. The fucking discos go 24 hours. When what's his name overdosed on cocaine and died in Argentina and Buenos Aires, I wasn't even fucking surprised, because I had a friend who grew up in Argentina, and she was telling me about the Buenos Aires party scene. The discos, like, if you're into discos, man, that's where it's fucking at. 24 hours a day, that shit runs.
What about did you see the one that fell apart and killed everybody?
Oh, yeah. What, is that in Nicaragua? Yeah.
I don't remember.
No,
what
was
country.
it Dominican?
I think it was the DR. But I worked in Seattle. We had a club that was all Hispanics, right? And Latin music, nothing but no English songs. And them motherfuckers jump from open to close. And the music, and they're just bouncing, and it's like, yeah, if you're not in like a well-constructed building, like, this is not okay. And I saw the footage, like they were jumping, and you saw the security guard trying to flash him and tell him to stop, and then we're good, and then next thing you know, fucking caves in.
Well, that's the difference between the third world and the first world. That in the third world, this is an expensive nightclub. This is not a piece of shit nightclub. There are a lot of rich people in this fucking nightclub, dude. But they don't have, like, out here they would tell you can only have 90 people or a certain. Actually, on Saturday, I went to the Midway. It's a club, and I went to like a rave type thing. And like, I got there around 8, but I left around 11. People were like dancing for like 2 hours nonstop. And I just felt like I found a couch. I just kicked it. But yeah, like it's crazy.
Be the life of the party on this cruise. They're gonna be like, who wants to go on the water slide? He's like,
that's what I'm thinking. I had a guest here who is a comedian on cruises. I hope I know who the fuck the comedian is. I think I'm just gonna.
Somebody's trying to do that right
now. Who did you have on here?
What was that guy's name from Portland? I think it was Oregon.
Alvin.
I think that's his name. Is it Alex? Alex.
Oh, you're talking. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I'll be quiet. Scott Elks. Big ugly white guy.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah, never mind. I'll leave that.
He's a funny guy.
Don't worry, we'll take care of this in post.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like that's gonna be fun. But yeah, I want to thank Megan from Sense who got me on the guest list. But I didn't take anybody because I know what the fuck to expect. I want to bring somebody who wanted to dance, and I'm just sitting on the couch trying to get there. But yeah, they dance nonstop. Yeah, I don't know.
So me personally, I'm too old for that shit.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how because in Vegas this weekend they had that big thing going down there. Like they had a big ass rave and shit, and I'm like, yeah, like you gotta be standing, dancing the whole fucking time. I don't know how they do it. Like I had bad hips when I was a kid, so I had a disease called leg paralysis. So, you know, I'm never. That's why I'm a terrible athlete. You know, my brother was on the water polo team. He was a swimmer. I'm just terrible athlete, but yeah, like nonstop. But I used to do it too. I would go to the Jerry Garcia band shows. I would stand up for like 2-3 hours at a time. You know, I
So
mean,
I don't.
you give me enough weed, I could do it. You know,
I don't get this because like being from Seattle, it rains a lot, right?
Right.
So we've always got a tent. We bring our chair. We've got an umbrella. Like we sit down on the grass. You've got a blanket. This standing shit, that's for the birds.
no,
Like,
I mean, this place only had like fucking 2 couches. I mean, nobody was gonna sit here.
oh
You know,
God, I'm glad you brought that up. So I've noticed at the clubs now for the young kids, the only places you can sit down are the VIP booths.
yeah. They had an area. They had like a restaurant area. I mean, this place had like they had one area where they had one fucking DJ, and then they had the big room. But I'm like, yeah, they had a couple of rooms at the same time. It was like, yeah, it was happening and shit. Actually, and they actually had like a daytime concert there too. There was another concert that happened outdoors during the day. When I got there, they had kicked somebody out, the security. And the crazy thing is, the security guard, he actually put like his knee on the guy's neck. And I've never seen that shit in person before. And when I first saw it, I thought that shit was illegal. I mean, this guy's not even a cop.
It is.
You know, because later on they were looking for that guy, the guy who they kicked out. And I saw the guy leave, but I was like, that is nuts.
It's crazy you bring up the knee on the neck thing. So when we had our riots in Seattle, right? TMZ posted a story of some white kid getting his knee on his neck, right?
Yeah.
And my voice, that was my voice.
Oh, that was you?
That was yelling, "Get your knee off his neck," and yelling at the dude for doing it.
I knew that voice sounded familiar.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, real talk. My friend sent me the story the next day because we were rioting and they did it to the white kid. I was like, "Get your fucking knee off his neck. What the fuck are you?" And you hear me cussing. My friend was like, "Yeah, we heard your voices." Oh. Ah. No, it's so it was weird leaving Seattle because we were having all this violence. I moved out of apartments on my apartment on the 30th of April. On Friday, somebody was held down and shot in the legs by 7 Mexicans, and an 11-year-old was hit by a stray bullet. That same night, the old club I used to work at got shot up, and 3 people were killed, and 1 was sent to the hospital.
Really?
Right? And I'm like, why am I moving out of Seattle again?
But is Seattle really that bad? No, it's just everywhere. It's everywhere you would say. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's San Francisco. It's
that's what I'm talking about. The difference between the first world and the third world. In the first world, yeah, people get shot at a nightclub, but you're never gonna see an incident where 100 people fucking roof collapses and 100 people die. You're not gonna see that kind of shit in America, you know.
But I think we're there. Like, I think that, like, if you want, let's have this talk. I think these are the precursors to that. I think these are the precursors. I think 25, 30 years ago, when Mexico was just starting to get bad and they were having shootings outside the club and they were shooting at the border and they were doing all these things, we were just having drive-bys. Now we're having those same types of shootings and the switch shootings and the 100 bullets. We're going to catch them.
Yeah.
We're not, I mean, I'm just being honest with you. In Washington, there were 2 bridges that were shut down this year. In the last 2 months, there were 2 bridges in Washington that were shut down. One of them shuts down access to Mount Rainier. The other one shuts down a whole national park. When's the last time bridges were retrofitted? Your roads down here are fucking horrible.
Oh, I know.
Well, no, they fixed the They rebuilt.
They don't fix shit.
No, and I'm not.
Rebuilt the Babers.
But you can say one, but I'm talking about the little bridge. I'm talking about your road down the street. I'm talking about getting off in Tracy and feeling like I'm driving on a fucking gravel road, right? Like,
no, but it's anywhere. It's okay. So then,
So I'm
even
kinda
it's
agree-
even it's even the Bay Area, Chris. Even going up and down the peninsula, it's the richest real estate in California, next to Malibu. And literally, there are potholes that are taking out cars. And now, I guess you can actually file a thing with the state. So, like, if I'm driving down 101 and I blow a tire, or it knocks out my
strut.
or strut or something like that, I can actually, when I get that done, I keep my receipt and I file it with the state of California, and they'll pay it.
But here's the problem: what
But
if
it
you
takes
don't have
forever.
that money?
Well,
Right.
the beautiful thing is,
The worst thing is,
I got
no,
a solution.
Here,
I
hold
got
on.
a solution.
You give us
for
the
you.
solution, but let me give you the other thing. Is no, the worst thing is
It's called
that's what all
Walnut
of our
Creek.
money's been taken for.
It's called move to
It's already
Walnut
been
Creek.
done.
Move to Walnut Creek where I live. There's no potholes.
Give
it
it 5
costs
years.
a fortune to live there. There's no potholes. There's no homeless people. You know, they got police who their only job is to look for homeless. There's no homeless people where I
But
fucking live.
let's stop there. What's
You know?
what's illegal about being homeless?
There's nothing illegal about being homeless, but somehow in Walnut Creek they don't
Some
allow
of us
you
call
to
it
do
free.
They don't allow you to do it. But you go to Oakland, there's areas in Oakland.
Think about this. Think about this. They just made it illegal to moor in waters around Florida. You know what that means?
What?
It's people who own boats can't live freely in Florida anymore.
Oh yeah.
You mean you can't live on your boat?
It's happening here. Like people used to live on their boats and
Well, that's what
Sausalito.
people should be able to do. People used to be able to buy a boat and travel the world.
But
not
no,
pay
I'm sorry,
taxes.
you can't do that anymore.
You can't live on a boat here unless you can't just have your boat sitting in the middle of the ocean out here. Like people try to do that. Like what's that city like near
Sausalito?
Sausalito, yeah. People they used to have boats out there. They weren't in any pier.
You're just dying.
But yeah, they used to just live out there.
Can't do it. It's already
But
all
I mean, you can't do that, you know.
But it's.
Hey man, that's what I'm telling you. That you want to know. You know how I ended up in Tijuana my first time. I'll tell you why. I was at junior college in L.A. The drinking age in Mexico is 18. Guess where the fuck we went? We went to Tijuana. Why do you think San Diego State is always one of the best party schools in the nation? Because you can fucking go to Tijuana every night and drink. You don't got to be 21 years old, you know. What's the drinking age in Canada? Did you ever go?
19.
Did you ever go to Canada just to
Well,
drink?
I'm glad you brought that back up because we can get back to the whole. That's why we have enhanced license. We were talking about enhanced license before. We were
Full
talking
circle,
about the
coming
star,
back.
yep, on all that. We have everybody in Washington's had a real ID.
Well,
That's
yeah,
why
it's
we
a
got it.
It's
So
a
you can
national
go-
ID.
So you can
No,
walk and go over the
It's
border.
because we go to the border all the time.
No,
because
it's a
you don't-
national ID. They decided every state is doing
I
it.
get what you're saying, but you're
No,
not
but every
listening.
state is coming out
you're
with a
not
real
hearing
ID.
That we've been having in Washington
Yeah.
for a long time and converted earlier because I wanted to
Oh,
go to
yeah.
Canada.
Yeah,
To be able to go to Canada without a passport, I could just go with my ID.
yeah.
And then actually, when I went to Tijuana in 2017, I used my enhanced ID.
Yeah,
Right.
they used to let you enter. Like they used to let you come back. You could go to Mexico anytime you want. Like there's nobody at Tijuana like checking IDs. Like let's be honest, dude. When you
Hold
enter,
There, you can go.
yeah, but coming
Hold
back.
on. Yeah, let's talk about that. You can go.
You can
Anybody
go,
can
yeah.
walk into Tijuana. But on
back-
the way back in,
yeah, but you used to be able to enter with a California ID.
Totally different.
hold on.
You used to
Totally.
you used to be able to come back just with a California ID.
You know what I'm
back in
talking
the
about,
day.
right? Like,
Yeah.
So when you walk in, so literally, and for those of you who've never been to Mexico through our border crossing in San
Yeah, that's
Diego,
Tijuana, yeah.
you're on I-5, you're in America. There's outlet mall exit, and they say this is the last exit before you're going to Mexico.
Yeah.
So if you've got any contraband, you better get off.
Oh yeah.
You better get off. 'Cause
Yeah.
Once you get to that border with the contraband, you're fucked. So that's
Yeah.
the first thing you gotta learn. Once you get to milepost 1, take that exit, chuck your weed, chuck your DMT, because you will catch a real crime. The second one is the border is literally there's a Jack in the Box right outside the border.
Oh yeah.
First thing you
It's
see when
true.
you come out is Yak in the Box.
Yeah.
Right? So when you walk in on the American side, it's like walking into a library.
Yeah.
It's a federal building. It's, you get scanned and you walk out. No big deal. No real metal detectors, no cages, no fence. Now, on the Mexico side, when you come back in, there's a quarter-mile of fence that fucking stops you from even getting into the building.
Yeah,
you're in an actual cage while you're walking through to get back in.
Yeah.
So you literally feel like caged animals on the way in. But the funny part is, as American, I was so happy. That was the one time in my life I was happy to see white people.
I mean,
go ahead, Karen. Tell me your story in English. I don't speak Spanish, so I'll listen. Go ahead. I understand what you're saying. Go ahead.
The last time I got on a plane, dude, they took us to a certain area. Then they took our luggage. They scanned it on the computer. The guy went in and took out my fucking deodorant spray. That's how they do it. They now, like, I didn't realize you couldn't fly with a deodorant spray, one of those spray things. But the computer, the guy just looked at it, the computer pointed it out, boom. That's how they do it. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, yeah, you can walk
X-ray
in.
technology
You can walk in, yeah. You can walk in, but it's a totally different. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But I've been trying to get somebody to go to the bullfights with me in Tijuana. Nobody wants to go to the bullfights with me. Dante, you want to go to the bullfights with me?
So let me preface this one.
That's a flat no.
I had heart surgery. For some of you guys don't know.
Yeah.
Just you guys watching.
How are you
Daddy,
doing? Yeah.
I got my Grim Reaper here.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I love your T-shirt. I love guns and coffee.
I was just gonna say
so
we could talk about that.
Which one do you love more, guns or the coffee?
The coffee.
The coffee.
It's just a shirt. But I was at a karaoke place, right? And I can't fight anymore, but I used to be security, so I know all the security guards were having a good time. And next thing you know, it got to that point where I looked at my homegirl and was like, we get the wrong Polynesian in here or anybody in here, it's about to be a fucking problem. There's way too many of them in here. Like, what can we do, right? So then we're singing, and next thing you know, I got a chee-hoo, and a chee-hoo, and a chee-hoo. And I looked at somebody and I was like, I'm moving to Hawaii. I better get used to this shit.
Yeah.
Right? That's how I feel about Tijuana. Right? Is it's that same dangerous energy. And what I mean by that is, like, as a black man, if I'm at a party and I hear a yeehaw, oh fuck, what's going on? Same idea as a chee-hoos. That means that you guys are about to do some fucked up shit. Being in Tijuana, because it's not Tijuana, it's Tijuana.
But did you like Tijuana? I thought about moving to Tijuana when I was down there.
Do you really want to have this conversation? We're gonna go deep.
I'm telling you the truth. I thought because I'm on SSI, I could live in Tijuana. But the thing is, my SSI.
You speak Spanish?
Yeah, I'm from South America.
So stop again. Hold on.
But like,
we're setting boundaries here, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk about, or not boundaries, but demographics. When you talk about me moving to Hawaii, that's like you saying you moving to Tijuana.
Yeah.
Right? Well, when I moved to Hawaii, I look local. You are local in Mexico, right? You speak Spanish. I know Pidgin. I can understand them fuckers, right? But I don't speak Spanish.
Yeah.
So to go to a country where everybody's going to think I'm Spanish and I'm not, and I can't communicate,
that would be bad.
That is not going to be safe for me. And then I'm going to, you know how much I stuck out? I'm 6'2". Nobody in fucking Tijuana is over 5'9".
Yeah, I tell people all this. I tell people all the time, and they don't want to believe me. Frankly, you know a lot of Spanish. You just don't think you know it. But you know Spanish. Being in America, you're going to pick up on Spanish. Ordering food.
No, being in California.
I don't know.
Which is Mexico-like.
Is Washington any different, though? I mean,
yes. So
at this point,
if you were in Yakima, you could say that.
Yeah.
If you were in Pasco, you could say that. If you were in certain, but no, there's not the molding.
Yeah.
Of the mixing, right, isn't the same in Seattle. The mixing in Seattle means you can go get Ethiopian food, you can go get Guyanese food, you can go get Chinese, you can go get Russian, you can go get Eritrean, you can go get Greek, you can go get everything. You can get Hawaiian even, right? But it doesn't mean everybody hangs out. Just means everybody's represented. Just kind of like New York. You go to New York, you don't learn Spanish just because you're in New York.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in the Spanish Bronx or whatever they call it, or the proper neighborhood, you might.
Right.
But if you're not in the right neighborhood, you might not see those people.
Yeah.
California and Texas and Arizona, Hispanic people are fucking everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Right? And not in a bad way, but they're just part of culture. Everybody used to eating tacos, and not a taco like that, a real taco, a street taco, a corn tortilla, not flour, right? So it's different when your culture is blended, even New Mexico and Albuquerque and all that, right? With the Tex-Mex and all that. So I'd say, yes, we know some words, but no, most people, somebody come up to you angry and started talking to you in Spanish. You're from Washington. Hey, buddy, can you calm down there, fella?
I can illustrate this really simple. Over the last week or so, there was a story that they said they're putting a Chipotle in Mexico, and it's already being met with all this resistance that the only people that are going to eat it are tourists.
Well, I gotta explain this to you because you're fucking.
Please do, because I'm a white guy.
You're a fucking gringo.
Pinche güero.
My stepmom is
guy.
Mexican.
Bring it to me.
Burritos aren't like their food. That's an American. The burritos in America.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said the taco.
I was doing.
They're into fucking tacos.
Carnitas.
So yeah, that's why.
So thank you for illustrating my point. Of me.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you.
No, tu cállate, fucker, chupa la verga.
Cállate. Actually, this is a good story.
I must have hit the SAP.
There is a slang word.
Tu cállate, güera, chupa la verga. Ay.
There's a slang word in Chile. It's called huevón. It's not really used in any other country, but everything is huevón. This, huevón, that. It just means balls, Huevo. So, but every time I hear somebody using that word while they're talking Spanish, I know they're fucking Chilean. And I was shocked. I saw my dad talking to his friends one day, and he's huevon this and huevon that. I was kind of shocked.
That's just like when somebody when you hear "how's it," or "the kind," they're from fucking Hawaii, right? If you hear somebody say soda pop, right? I don't think what's the other? We used to say fresh in Seattle.
Oh yeah.
Right? There's a couple other words we say in Seattle that people were like, "What's that?" Right? Slang is slang. It's gonna happen in any language. It's just Tijuana is dangerous, bro.
It is fucking dangerous.
And I gotta get this out. So,
but 10 years ago when I was
listen.
10 years ago when I was down there, it wasn't that dangerous. But the truth is, I thought
No, you're lying, because here's the thing. You walk down the strip, there's pills for sale, there's girls for sale, there's drugs for sale, and there's nothing but
welcome to San Francisco, motherfucker. Like, what do you think we got outside this fucking door?
This is way safer than Tijuana.
It is way safer than Tijuana, but let me tell you something.
I quote you on that.
Let me tell you something. You know where it's really fucking safe? Is this beautiful land called Walnut Creek. It's expensive as fuck to live in.
I think he's trying to become the mayor of Walnut
Nah,
Creek.
I'm not, but
you're next mayor and chief of Walnut Creek.
I live in a senior community. There's never any fucking
his
crime.
Roommates with his mommy. That's right.
But let me tell you, there's never any crime where I live. But when there is crime, guess who fucking is doing it? People related to somebody who lives in that fucking place.
You people.
Not my people.
I'm so glad you had. So last night, let me see that.
Oh yeah.
Last night when we were talking, I was at the mic. I looked at the guys and I looked at everybody. I said, "Do you know what I miss?" And they were like, "No." I was like, "I miss St. Ides special brews, the carbonated in there." Nobody knew what I was talking about.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember? Yes, the tall cans of fucking alcoholic Kool-Aid.
And
Wow,
now
that's-
they have it for cannabis, and
Yeah.
they're smaller and
Yeah.
they're not carbonated.
Yeah.
But they should make that. And so
They should work
he
on the
gets
flavor
he gets
profile.
well, that's how I think the guy came up with that one. That one's like a shot, and it's 1,000 milligrams. The other one,
You like St. Ives?
can.
I'll trade the hats. You
So
wanna-
my buddy.
I'll trade your hat for my hat,
Nope,
man.
no
You
thanks.
gave me the suit. Hey, did you make that hat or did you make?
Yes.
You made that
So
yourself?
my buddy, this is actually pretty gnarly.
You
Then.
should make one for me, dude. Like the JunkYard Rat or something.
My buddy's syrup was 1,000 milligrams.
Yeah,
or
that
grams.
that bottle cost me like $30 after taxes. It was like 38,
That's
but
hell
for
of a deal.
1,000 milligrams, I didn't even know you could buy anything that strong in a dispensary. I got it. Yeah, I can. I'll take you to the place I bought it. It's like a couple blocks away. It's Barbary Coast. It's at Weed Lounge. They actually got pool tables there now too.
Shit, I'm
But-
not doing nothing. I need to go to the wharf. Shout out to the Fisherman's Wharf. Every time I come
yeah.
to San Francisco, I go get a crab cake and a spicy fish sandwich from the same two spots.
No, dude, you're missing out. You know who's got the best
Fuck you.
restaurant at Fisherman's Wharf? In and
Well,
Out.
I'm from
In and Out,
I
motherfucker.
knew-
In and Out.
Fuck him. I knew he was
Out.
gonna say something.
It's in it. Every time I go to Fisherman, I don't eat seafood. I
I
don't
feel
know.
like this is the Muppets and we're the two angry guys.
I
on the
don't-
show.
I don't
Yeah,
eat
yeah.
seafood. I don't eat seafood.
Dude, so I'm
the
from
only
Seattle.
seafood I eat are mermaids. I
and
do
he's
eat
Flossie
mermaids.
the bear.
But
he's Flossie the bear.
Oh, God.
I'm always
No,
in
he's
a
Gonzo.
In and Out. You can't go wrong with
Gonzo.
In and Out. I
He's
got
Fonzie.
I got a family
You
who
should
come
go
from
with Fonzie.
Chile. I always tell them In and Out, dude, In and Out. But that's not my favorite.
So,
My
fuck-
favorite is Fat Burger. Have you
let's
been
be-
to Fat
let's
Burger?
Let's
No,
be
but I
real
wanna
with
get a
people.
Fat
Have you
Burger.
been to Fat Burger? They
Yeah,
got them
we
all
had
over.
Fat Burger in Washington.
They have
Yeah.
CBD condiments.
Yeah.
The best thing to do when
Hey,
you go to
man,
a city like
I
this.
only use CBD condoms on my ass and
No,
stuff.
Jesus
You know.
The best thing to do when you go to a city that's a porter like this is you go down to their fucking market. So like Pike Place Market where we're at, you go down to the pier, you eat at Ivers, you eat at a restaurant where they've caught it and cut it within the same 50 feet. And so when you go get a crab cake down at the fucking pier, that's crab that those guys have caught.
Right.
It hasn't went anywhere. It wasn't on a truck. It
Oh,
wasn't
don't
frozen.
you know? No, believe me, Chris understands about catching crabs. Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me tell you.
This
something.
guy, he is the king of
Oh,
catching crabs.
jeez.
Let me tell you something. I got one question for you.
Thanks for the setup.
I got one question for you. They got a Ferris wheel at Pier 39. Which one of us would you rather be on the Ferris wheel with? You had to pick one of us.
We already know the answer, man. We're sitting on the right. And I can't
You would
fuck
take
with
Paul. You would take Paul.
Yeah, man. You're like my brother. Like I own you. Nobody else can pick on you, but I would punch the shit out of you every once in a while. Like people, I want to kick his ass. No, you can't.
Right.
And tell people you
Oh my
can't kick
God.
his ass. And the minute they leave,
Yeah,
I'd be like,
man.
"You fucking idiot," and give you one. And be like, "I hate you." I love you though, buddy. I love you, but yes.
We love
Too
we
soon?
love to hate you.
Too soon? That was that too?
No,
that was a little
no,
too.
no.
this-
How many minutes are we in? No, you're good.
It's not too soon. So are you taking a cruise to Hawaii? No, you're flying. Your car is taking the cruise to Hawaii. You're just gonna fly.
So, living in Seattle, I looked up prices on how to send my car over, and it was $2,400. And then when I looked up how much it was to come out of California, because I know Danny D, I know Jackie Pearl, I know other people, but those are my main friends that I know I can crash with. I know Paul, but
Now I know, Paul.
right,
yeah.
but to know that you can trust people and they'll make sure you're taken care of, they'll make sure you have somewhere to crash. Especially as a comic, that's huge.
Yeah, it is.
So to do one last trip down and be able to do some comedy and hang out, I just happened to look, and it was $700 cheaper. Well, how much gas do you think? How many tanks do you think I had to fill up to get down here? A tank and 3/4, right?
Oh yeah.
So if I would have just drove straight down, you're only supposed to load your car with a quarter tank of gas. If I would have just been driving straight through, it would have cost me $120. So I saved $580.
That is one of the best drives ever.
And
like,
you have a vehicle while you're here. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I did that drive one time to Seattle in the summertime. I always recommend people like drive up there at least once in their life.
Yes and no. I think there's 5 parts to the drive. There's getting out of commercial California, and then it fucking sucks in California. Then you see Shasta, which is kind of cool, right? And then you get into Oregon and you see the two mountains there. You see Mount whatever it is, right? You go over there, Grants Pass, right?
Right.
And you come out of Medford, and then you come out of Medford, and you're just like, this is fucking boring.
Well, there's parts of Oregon where they got real white people, you know. We're not talking about California. We're talking about people like it's like there's a part of Santa Cruz where they got white people who've been there generations and they fucking hate people from San Jose. And they're like, I was kicking it with a couple of them one time because I have a friend who grew up there. And yeah, there's an area of Santa Cruz where they got a bunch of white people. They just fucking hate people from San Jose. And there's parts of Oregon like, I mean, those are real white people. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I agree with all that. You know what I mean? I think it's great people everywhere. It's just when you're driving, I just think it's boring.
I stayed in the town where in Oregon they do the Shakespeare Festival, and it looked like something out of the 1950s. I thought I was on Leave It to Beaver.
And I'm not disagreeing with you that like when you get off the freeway and you go into these places, it's great, but like when you drive through Washington, the Washington Drive has about 80 miles like that. Because you go once you get out of Olympia and you dip down, and then before you get to about Longview, and it's kind of cool looking, right? Because you got the river. There's 80 miles where it just all looks the same. There's no real cities. There's no real standout, right? And so, like when you drive on the 101 down California, that shit is amazing.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. It's thrilling. I can't talk to you while I'm driving, right? I gotta fucking focus, right? And then the cliffs and the views and the contrast, and like doing this trip, that was part of
the
what
shootings, the carjackings, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You know
that
what
happens on the 101.
But you're actually gonna fly. What you should have done is just stayed in your car in the boat the whole way there.
Yes.
Kind of like it's a way of making you feel the journey more. You know, getting on a plane is kind of weak. You should have stayed in your car all the way, even on the boat and stuff. I'm just messing with you.
No, so with my journey, let's talk about this. I moved out on the 30th. For whatever reason, my girlfriend decided to break up with me, so I ended up staying with my dad. I got to stay with my dad for almost 3 weeks. I haven't lived with my dad in 26 years, right?
That must have been fun.
It was, because I had heart surgery, and I'm allowed to get high, and I'm allowed to drink, and
you're a big boy now.
Yeah, and they're proud of me, and I'm moving to Hawaii with my own stuff, so I'm okay to not do.
Plus, they're gonna miss you, so it's actually it's a good thing.
It was awesome, right? And so I'd come home after doing whatever. My stepmom be there, and she'd be like, "Oh, I made this," or I'd make something, and we'd chill and watch TV. And then my dad come home, and I'd kind of see him and talk to him. And then, like the last 2 nights, his wife had already went camping, so it was just me and him in the house. So we hung out, just kind of talked, and just to slow down. And I had 200 over 230, 40, 50 ties. I have 14 suits, 20 pairs of dress shoes, 13 slacks, 80 shirts, 100 pairs of dress socks. I gave all away.
You bring me a suit?
Wow.
I bet I could have fit into one of those suits.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, you should have brought us some clothes, brother.
I know, I don't even got it.
You live at large next to 2 big guys right here. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm glad you did something with it, though.
I used to wear suits back in the day. I did comedy in suits for a while.
But the guy gave it to is the same size as me. He works at a school. He's the principal. Some shit didn't have a wardrobe, so now he's perfect
styling.
Right? And he decided to give me some money.
He's going to be the cool principal with a nice suit and stuff.
There was all these Legos. Some of them I sold for a good price. At the end, I gave some away. My jerseys, I got what I got for them. I gave a ton of shit away. My buddy got what was left in my house for $200, which included food, steaks, cans of soup. Then you got $200 worth of groceries on top of a bed and this, but
were you disappointed at the end? You felt like you weren't feeling like all the love at the end?
Well, let me finish. That's part of this move. is shedding. When you move to the island, you don't need 700 shirts.
Yeah.
You don't need 10 pairs of shoes.
I'm telling you.
Do you even need a shirt on the island?
Here, and let me say this, so that me and my wife have been together for 24 years, but married for only 3 years now, coming up, 3 years. And we've been trying for the last 20-something years, we've been trying to consolidate and live in the same house. And anyway, so we literally put 3 houses of shit together, and let's just talk about me in shirts. It's like I think I have literally a couple hundred shirts that are hanging in my closet, and when I go through them, like a stack of them are black, and they're like this big. The shirts in my closet that are black are this wide.
But
there must be like 40 shirts.
You know what shirts are in there too, and you know what shirt when you're looking for a shirt. I wanted my Donkey Kong shirt.
Right.
I want. Where's my Mario?
Yeah, it's my Green Hornet shirt.
Wait, have you seen my super suit? Where is my super suit? Right.
Right.
Like it's
it's key things that.
How do you let that go? When you're moving to somewhere that's paradise, even though what I've trimmed down to, I still probably have a lot.
Hey, man.
And I have a problem. I can associate things with memories.
Hey, you know what? I'll be honest with you. Reeling should go. I like your watch. I'm kidding.
Jesus Christ. This
It's
feels
a nice
like
watch.
I see why he likes Tijuana. He
So
fits
next
right
time
in
you
there.
revise your living will, if you could
I'm
do me a
just
solid,
messing
my
with
brother.
I do like your watch. It's all
Jesus.
shiny and stuff.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
shiny.
Precious. Jesus.
I'm telling you.
You know
Yeah,
who
man.
you know who gave me this watch? My dad just gave it to me.
I'm sorry.
He
He
God
picked,
damn.
he
I
picked that
feel
right
bad.
out of the.
I feel
You know how I
bad
got
and
this
shit.
watch? My grandfather died in the war, and he shoved it up his ass. Then he gave it to his son, and he shoved it.
And so on.
man.
It was kind of like a Russian nesting doll, but
Oh,
with
God.
jewelry.
What movie was that from? Was it
Oh,
Pulp
man.
Fiction when he did that? He
Uh,
talked about the
Hey.
pocket watch and gave it to him. That was the funniest shit ever.
no, I can
Hey,
remember
man.
He's
that.
just
He's
sitting
like,
there looking at his dad. Oh,
They
that's
putting a
horrible.
watch up your ass.
well, I
Make it
was
shine like that.
I was watching a movie, and what was it? And the lady wanted, hold the pearls, keep the pearls, or whatever it was, and she's like, make sure we don't get robbed for the pearls. And the woman puts it down her shirt, and she goes, yeah, because great grand had to smuggle those out of Czechoslovakia in her asshole or whatever to get out
I know
alive.
what you're saying. I know.
Yeah,
what
and I
you're
was like, I
saying.
forget what movie
Yeah,
that
I know
was,
what
but
you're
that was
talking
something
about. It
just
was-
recently
And they were
too.
just like, oh God. But that was the
Like,
truth. That was
oh
the
my
truth
God.
of the
I would watch that
Holocaust
movie.
war.
No, I would watch that movie.
Whatever that one is.
I would watch that.
I think it's called Memories.
I saw the final what is it called? The movie that just came out, the Final Destination.
Oh, is it a Final Destination film? I hate those, but yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
Bloodlines. Bloodlines. Or whatever.
the whole movie rested on a fucking penny, and it's a brilliant film. I suggest you go check it out.
Who's sucking your dick for that plug?
Yeah.
Hey, man, nobody's sucking
That-
no dick yet.
I know. We can
But I
tell.
got-
You're honoring.
I'm
Butt
telling-
plug,
I-
sucking dick. Man, you got
Yeah.
it all going on.
He keeps hitting this
Hey,
button over here.
I'll
I
be
think he's-
honest with you. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I remember watching one of the Final Destination movies right before I came back from Chile when I moved down there. And it kind of inspired me. I don't even know, a movie that everybody dies kind of inspired me to like look for signs. And it's true, like the signs are always there. Sometimes I just flip a quarter. It doesn't mean I'm gonna follow what the quarter tells me to do. But the signs are there. Do you believe in signs? I mean,
You
did
can't
feel-
believe everything you read, like even your bracelet that says you're crazy. I mean, you just
I
can't
mean,
believe.
This guy's moving to Hawaii. Was it a feeling? What made you decide it was finally time
I'm
to
going to
go?
be honest with you. It's one of the first things I said. So I was out for 6 days, right? And I woke up and I didn't remember what happened. It took me a couple of days to get my memory back. It took me a couple of weeks to remember who people were. And one of the first things I did say, though, is I'm supposed to be moving to Hawaii in May. I'm not religious at all. And when my grandma talked to me about when we prayed for you. I said, I wanted to tell you one thing. I didn't pray one single fucking time. When I saw the Grim Reaper, I said, I'm moving to Hawaii. I'm getting out of here. When I heard people fucking dying, I'd start crying and saying, I got to get the fuck out of here. I'm moving to Hawaii.
I've never actually stayed in the hospital. I mean, are there people crying at night? Or?
So there's a difference between staying in the hospital and being in the ICU. There's a difference between being in the ICU and being in the cardiac ICU. So when you're in the cardiac ICU, that means everybody in there's pretty much on life support based upon heart problems. So instead of it just being like, could be sepsis, could be whatever, these people are literally, their heart's failing. So are they going to make it out? Most don't. My dad got told to have people come say their final goodbyes. They don't just tell people that. When they say that, when they're like, yeah, you might want to
say goodbye. Yeah, yeesh. That gets serious.
My dad had a triple bypass surgery like 20 years ago. But yeah, I remember like when they wheeled him out of surgery. He looked pale as fuck. I remember him going through that, the boredom of sitting in his house. You know, like that feeling like your whole life changed, but not everybody around you understood all that. You know.
Well, it sounds like your dad's surgery was planned, correct?
Yeah, and it wasn't planned. They actually flew him in a helicopter, and they did it like the next day. I think.
So that's the thing I went through is when you have emergency surgery, you're not prepared for it. Like we talked about, I've got PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
When you first wake up and you can't get up and you got to ask for help, and if you want to do, I need a pillow, you got to buzz for a pillow, and you got to buzz for this, and they're not coming fast enough, and you see, hey, and I almost want to cry.
Maybe you should like tip them or something.
There's nothing you can do in the hospital, and when you're left that helpless, and you have to, and you're in pain, and you can't move, and you can hardly breathe, and it hurts to sneeze, and it hurts to cough, and it hurts to laugh, and it hurts to move, and I even said I would not wish open heart surgery on my biggest enemy. I'd rather they just die, because this is fucking horrible. Like this is, like even to this day, getting up, or like right now when I lean back, I can feel my sternum. But last night I felt a palpitation. It felt weird, and I started worrying: am I gonna die tonight if I go to sleep? Am I gonna wake up? Something wrong with my heart? It fucks with your mortality.
Or even worse, not wake up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, should I go to sleep? Can I go to right? Like, it's so mind limiting. Last time I went to Hawaii in November, I jumped off the North Shore. I jumped off of this. I went swimming everywhere. I raced a turtle under the water because we seen a turtle, so I started swimming right next to it, trying to swim faster, and watched him and swam for like 100 yards. I can't do any of that shit. So I jogged to come across the street on the way in here. That was the first time I jogged because it got down to 5, and I even thought, is this going to be okay? I'm looking at it like, do I wait? But I want to get in the studio, but it's 5 seconds, and I know I'm in East California.
And health is one of those personal things. It's a real personal thing. I have a child that's not even 30, and I can run laps around them. And it's like, wow, you have a 58-year-old dude running laps, and I got a belly. And well, I'm serious. I mean, it's hard to. It's already hard to manage, but then when life throws you more than a curveball, I mean, a curveball would be an understatement for what you went through.
Talking about running the Beta Breakers was like yesterday. Like, you should.
But don't you appreciate everything a little bit more?
Yeah.
I mean, it's different now.
You enjoy the small things, like even just a good dump. You're like, wow, that was successful. I didn't have to use half a roll of toilet paper wiping my bum.
Let's talk comedy, right?
Yeah.
And you brought it up, so we'll go circle back to it. How you said, have I been in a bad mood? No, I haven't been in a bad mood. I've just noticed the reality that people didn't like me in my scene, or people really didn't care, right?
You mean prior to your life-changing event?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you didn't check up on me after I died and didn't want to see me,
Yeah, we had this conversation, right? Yeah.
And so,
which is true, which is
right,
real.
like you guys are just pieces of shit, or I was of no value. There's a graph, and you're on both sides, and some are both. But yeah, that's where it's at.
Well,
right?
even me, it is like I just didn't even know.
Right, but he knew. Some people knew, but my point is people outside my market knew, and were checking on me more than the people I was right next to and I paid.
Right, that sucks.
Right, and then not only that, but I went to lunch with a friend who was bragging about how she was going to record this special, record that special, and she got mad at me because I told her she wasn't funny to me, but I booked her anyways, and that bothered her because that's not comedy. And I'm like, no, that is comedy. People just don't understand that if you start using your opinion on what's funny to control who gets in front of an audience, you're fucking blacklisting and gatekeeping. That's literally what the problem is.
Is this person running a showcase or an open mic?
Not really. They're just they're
if they're curating a show, I think the producer has the right to pick people they think is funny, which might have a certain slant to it. But that's only because it's their show, they're running it. It's like they're in the schoolyard picking who's on their team.
I agree with all that you have the right to. I'm not saying I believe that's the right way to do it.
No, I agree too.
And since I am a producer and I've produced hundreds of shows, I always book people that I didn't think were funny on the show.
Really?
Now here's my thinking on this.
Okay. And you're talking showcase, not open mic.
Yeah, okay. You never booked me, man. I'm just too funny.
Damn, if he could get a little bit lower, I'm pretty sure he'd blow himself. But
I probably would.
But
get a rib, if he lost a rib.
Here's the idea: is if you're running a real show where it's not the same crowd every week, and you're getting in fresh customers, and you're having to market, and you're rotating in a new crowd.
Right.
You don't know what you're gonna get. Right. You don't know who they are. They don't know you. You don't have a vibe that isn't this crowd. It's the room.
Sure.
Right. So now it's your job to create the atmosphere. So I always hosted my shows. So I'm going to bring it. I'm going to do these certain jokes. I know what I'm going to get. I can read how the crowd is. You can read how the crowd is by how they responded to me.
Right.
I'm doing certain jokes, whatever. Right. But the big thing is if you're a producer, you can curate whatever you want. That is totally fine.
Right.
But a lot of people get mad because they go and they see the same comics up.
That's true. I agree with that.
And so when you're picking your favorites or picking what you think's funny, while you may not think they all sound the same, they all have the same type of humor,
cadence, or like I've looked at flyers. I've looked at lineups after I've made them and said, "Oh wait, that's two middle-aged white guys."
You know the crazy thing is.
No, I get it. No, so you have to be aware and cognizant whenever booking a show. And you're right. If you're in a certain clique, there's like 400 Bay Area comedians. I try to book as many as I could. Like I really like female comics. But there was only maybe 5 that would frequent my room because I would try to book them and either it was too far, they didn't know me, they hadn't worked with me. Like I'd offer them.
All the other.
So right. So again, you're talking the Greater Bay Area, 400 people. I probably rotated the same 30 comics a year, and that sucks because I had rather had access to the other 370 of them. And I wouldn't have picked them all. I only would have probably picked. There were so many women that I wanted to book. Like, again, we're talking about women. But there were so many women I wanted to book. There were so many people that it's not they were out of my price range. They were either too far from the show. It wasn't enough compensation. They didn't know me. They didn't know the situation. Or they never got back to me.
Motherfucker, though.
Huh?
Maybe they just thought you were a creepy.
Maybe. But all I know is every time somebody worked one of my shows, they enjoyed it, had a great time, and made money.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, and that's where it comes to. I was talking to somebody about this, I think 2 days ago, and I said, when you book a lineup, and you book somebody that you don't think is funny, here's what happens. You're doing your opening set as a host, and if you're the producer and the host, you're doing your opening set. And you can see in the crowd, there's these 7, 8, 9, 10 people that really don't think you're funny.
Right.
And you can bank on the fact that when that person comes up that you don't like, they're gonna crush those 10.
They're gonna get the ones that you didn't.
Right, and then once they get those people laughing, and everybody's laughing for whatever reason, now once after that's happened, they're all gonna laugh at everybody.
So I agree. If the reason you don't like the person is because you don't like their sense of humor, but I think if you think that they just don't have talent, and believe me, there's a few in the Bay.
Now,
So
comedy,
if it's because you don't appreciate their humor because they don't have jokes.
is comedy like the oldest art form? I mean,
Absolutely.
Is there any art form older than comedy? Comedy was the first
apparently
art form.
baking.
Baking.
Yeah, you can.
Comedy's the second oldest profession.
Keep the conversation
You know?
going. I gotta show where it is.
Yeah, comedy's like the second oldest profession. I mean, it just comes down to like comedy. It is the thing. I think Joan Rivers said the best thing about comedy that you can't just you can be really good looking and have some sugar daddy, but that sugar daddy can get you a career in comedy. In comedy, like if you're gonna be good at comedy, you just gotta make people laugh. At the end, that's the brilliant thing about comedy. Like, there's no models in the comedy business. I mean, they try to be. Some of them think they're funny, but there's just it's something there, and that's how it is. That's what comedy's always been about, And I don't know. I think comedy is just an instinct, I mean, people always laugh at my stuff. I don't know. I think it's because English is my second language. That when I learned English, I kind of learned how to do monotone. It was the way I was taught how to read. Like I was taught how to read, like separating words. So I did develop a monotone speaking, and it kind of helps because if you say the same thing the same way, then that's what gets it, But I don't know. I've always been funny. I'm funny in Spanish and English. I don't know. I just know how to be funny. I don't know what it was. But yeah, when I was a kid, I used to watch. When I was a kid, I lived in Venezuela, and everybody in my whole school used to watch Chapulín Colorado. And I think that's where my comedy came from. I used to watch that show religiously when I was a kid. And it was like the biggest thing in Latin America. I mean, Chapulín Colorado is fucking huge. But my comedy, if you look at that TV show, that's where my comedy started.
Is that something like Sábado de Bingo, or what is it?
Well, that guy's Chilean too.
Gigante Sábado, or
yeah, he's Chilean too. Yeah, that guy used to do that same show in Chile for years before it even came.
Univision.
He was on there for like 20 years before he even hit Miami.
I know, I'm gringo. I'm white as fuck.
I was just gonna say they don't say it that, man.
Univision.
It's Univision.
Univision.
Yeah. I said,
yeah, he goes, yeah. Thanks for the clarification.
I got a serious question for you, though. I mean, yeah, like.
Here's a serious question.
This could go
this
left
is my
or
serious
right.
question. Now, would have been better if you had known Spanish in the hospital. You would have got better care.
Oh, fuck you.
I'm just kidding.
Let's talk about that.
I never stayed in the hospital. What is it like?
It's hell.
It's a lot of boredom and a lot of noises.
So there's two parts to this. When you wake up in the hospital, there's two experiences going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's yours of not knowing what happened, right?
Sure.
Right? Trying to figure out what's going on. You've lost time. You don't know that. You're just thinking you're waking up from whatever you can last remember, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But then there's the people that have been there wondering what's going on with you.
God, that's an ugly view of us there.
Right?
Sorry, no, I was just looking at it. Like,
I'm a
sorry.
sexy bitch. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're looking good. I'm looking like really.
But
I want to show you the gels more.
the second point of view is those people who've been waiting for you to wake up, right?
Mhm.
Well, for me, it had been 6 days almost. So that means my dad, my friends, the girl I was seeing at the time, who was our third date that we were on when this happened with, right? And she decided to stick it out and be a good person, right? They've all been sitting around waiting to see what's going to happen.
Right.
So when I wake up, I want to hang out and party and talk, but for them, it's a release. So within a half hour to an hour of me being awake, guess what I was? I was alone. Because everybody
sucks.
else wanted to fucking go to sleep. They were like, okay, you're alive.
Yeah, you're alive.
You're
now,
alive.
now we can sleep.
Okay. All right. You're alive. You guys got it? You're alive? And I was like, hey, can we hang out? So there was so much alone time. Like you talked about when your dad came home from it. You learn so much about yourself. You learn how much you love yourself or don't, or you're going to have to. You learn what you got left and how you're going to love that. I probably don't run my mouth like I used to because I know I can't have somebody hit me without me hitting them first. Then I know if I hit them first, I got to hit them with everything I got and not miss because I don't have a lot of them. So I'm trying. I'm non-confrontational now. I just avoid. Oh, they're being too loud. I'm going this way. Oh, I don't like how they're looking at me. Oh, I'm going to go over here. It's you change. And
a lot of it is conscious.
Yeah. You're
just
choosing.
Like, oh yeah.
You've got to come to a reality that the person I was isn't the same.
Is it in the beginning? Is it just paranoia, kind of feeling like, oops, I can't do that, or like even like you just said, I ran across the street. I'm afraid that is this my last street or my first street, or are you gonna see me on a Nike commercial next year with me running with a dog or something, like a robot dog or something?
For me, it was a lot of bad emotions first. Right. You know, a lot of laughing but crying, a lot of. So I remember the first time I went to the bank, right? I came in, and it was like 3 or 4 days after I got out, so I could barely stand for any length of period.
Right.
And so I went and sat on the couch because there was a line, and the lady was, "Hey, how you doing? Come over here." And I was like, "I can't." She's like, "What do you mean you can't? Aren't you going to Hawaii?" I was like, "Ma'am." And I started tears welling up because I was getting mad. I was like, "I cannot walk. I had an open heart surgery. I've been through a lot. Please just come take my check." And like usually I sit down and chit chat with her. Like when I went to my last deposit, I sat there for 10, 15 minutes, talked, had a, you know what I mean? Like this is the person who managed your finances. And I just fucking cried because I was so fucking mad I couldn't walk or stand up, and that I had to communicate it, and what am I doing right now?
Right.
Then I still had to get up and go walk back out to the car. Right? And that took all I had out of me, right?
Right.
I got
so hit. Emotionally, physically, it just took its toll.
It kills you. You know, you've laid on a table, they've cut your chest open.
And how old are you?
43.
So, I mean, holy shit.
I'm 20 years younger than the average person who has this happen.
Well, you know, every 7 years you do a whole lifespan and you like start over. So this is like the
every
beginning.
7 years you shed all your cells in your body is what you're saying. Yes.
There's always ways to say.
Yeah, but we don't crack open your chest cavity.
But this is your. But I got a question now. Like, what about hospitals? What about doctors in Hawaii? I've never been to Hawaii. I mean,
this isn't like going to Tijuana. There's still people there. There's still people who practice medicine.
There's still people that practice. They're not all witch doctors.
No, but I haven't been there. But you know,
so
I'm
if
just asking.
You want the honest answer?
Yeah, I want the honest.
At my age, they don't have a lot of data on young people, right? This is just starting to happen to young people because the survival rate somewhere around 10 to 15% at best, right? And then on top of that, having a bypass and another surgery beforehand made my survival very low, right? And so they don't know. And so you're dealing with doctors like part of this is you. You've got to start knowing your body. You've got to start feeling when you're tired. You can't push yourself. You've got to get in shape. I'm on pills that got my blood regulated, right? My heart's working. Now it's up to me to manage my body and my life. There's not much a doctor can do to make me lose weight, right? There's not much a doctor can do. It's having the...
They can't do Ozempic or anything?
That'd be too dangerous than what I'm on. But
really,
think about it like this: is
not that you're so. For one, you're not fat.
Oh, I'm overweight. I didn't say
but,
fat.
But
I didn't
no,
say
and I'm not fat either.
You
but
notice
I
didn't
I'm
say
not.
unhealthy.
But I'm overweight and I'm unhealthy.
But I'm not even unhealthy. Like I don't have high cholesterol. I don't have any of those.
Because you changed your habits.
No, I didn't.
Nothing.
No. Like when they did all my blood work, I didn't have. I'm not diabetic. I don't.
Right. I'm not diabetic either. Right?
I don't have high cholesterol.
I have high blood pressure.
I have high blood pressure, but that's from part of having surgeries. You're gonna have.
You know
high
the
blood
crazy
pressure.
thing? I don't even know my blood type. Like, how the fuck do I not know my blood type?
I don't know my blood type either. Actually,
isn't that something you should know? I mean,
it's whatever
not really.
they have on Mars.
Right?
It's whatever they have on Mars, Chris.
Depends on what planet you came from, right? Are you from Mars or are you from Jupiter?
Yeah. No, he's from Uranus. Sorry, too easy.
That's a terrible joke.
I know. For you kids playing at home, work that.
That wasn't even funny in 1940 when it was told the first time.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep the comedy, the history of comedy alive here in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's all there.
We are here with Dante Burnett, formerly from up north, now going to Washington. Or I'm sorry, well, he was from Washington, now going to Hawaii. And how's that going to change? I mean, because you're going to be working for the same company, so that's going to be the same vibe, but everybody around you is going to be different. You were just talking about you didn't like where you were in Washington.
So, in Hawaii, I'm starting something new. Superman Productions is still going. I'm going to be filming a movie. I'll be doing comedy shows. But I'm working with this place called Haleloa Media. We're going to be starting a youth program to teach youth how to film and cover broadcasting. We're going to be broadcasting the youth sports out there because that's all they have. We're going to be really like taking sports there to the next level. And then on top of it, we're a nonprofit. So the idea of getting sponsors and advertising are two different things. But if you advertise your sponsors, they can write off whatever they give you because they're giving you a donation to a nonprofit, right? So
there you go.
The sales pitch is there. Nobody's been selling. We are going to take over. We got everything lined up. And then we just talk about starting a school for kids as far as acting goes and all that.
Now, and you like working with kids, right? Because they've got fresh minds.
I like giving people the opportunities to see what they can do.
And it seems like kids kind of jump into it feet first. They kind of just go for things.
Yes and no. Some do, some don't. I like just giving them. It's not about the results. It's about the opportunity.
Right.
And like you guys joked about DEI, but that's the whole idea of DEI.
Well, it is, and yeah, we were joking about it, but we were joking about it.
No, and not in a bad way.
Right.
I know that.
Talking about working with
He's
kids,
going to. He's going to.
Here we go. So hold on.
I have a friend who's a security guard in Oakland High School, and she like, yeah. So would you be a security guard in a high school? That sounds intense. I don't even know if we had cops when I was in high school.
See, that's the part that, like, I don't want to. When you think about these other programs, right? And I think I'm going to say this, and it's going to fucking sound horrible, but a lot of people will say that our school systems are like prisons.
Yeah.
Right? And so they're set up to be prisons, right? And so when you get into what we're talking about, we're not dealing with the general population. We're dealing with the kids that want to earn good time and want to clean the kitchen and do the extra stuff if we're comparing it to jail. So these people have something to risk. They want to be able to learn these skills. They want to do this extra nerdy program.
Don't old
And
school
so-
dorms look like prisons though?
They do.
I remember my dorms looked like, and you know the weird thing about all the furniture in the college dorms were built in prisons.
And they were all set up like barracks. And so
Yeah.
with what we're going to do, we're going to get the kids that want to do this stuff. And so when you give the kids that want to do it, and then you give them some guidance and you give them some opportunities, you never know what's going to happen. And the idea is you're supposed to be able to get more people to do things. Stop the nepotism. Stop the gatekeeping. Stop the what I think is funny. I don't like this. I don't like that. Well, what if 1% of people like what this person does? Do you know how much money that is globally?
Yeah, if you just
Right.
get 1%.
Right. These are the things that we now should be marketing.
Messi played in San Jose a couple of days ago. It was like the biggest thing. The tickets were like $400. Oh, you want to hear a crazy?
Oh,
Messi?
no, stop! Time out. When I left, guess who was in Seattle? SZA and Kendrick Lamar. 68,000 people.
Oh yeah.
Cheapest ticket was $375.
Oh, yeah. I'm watching. I just watched a TV
No,
show.
time out. Do the math.
They did a TV show.
Do you know how much money that is? I want to stop you there.
Yeah.
Do you know how much money that is at
That is a lot of money.
$400 a ticket for about 7,000 people minimum?
That's a lot of money.
That's 2.8 million on the minimum.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, what's the average ticket price? Probably probably 2,500.
Wow. That's crazy. That's incredible.
So we're talking about $20 million in ticket sales.
Mm-hmm.
You said it was 400 for Messi Marv. How many people are in there?
Like 100,000.
Where's this?
It was in the earthquakes, and there must have been like 60,000.
Yeah, that's better.
But so
that's
even
if you're
but
lucky.
even still, but that's the same number. That's the let's say we take it down a little bit, but we're talking about 15 to 20 million.
Right. That's a lot of money,
You
man.
want to hear something crazy?
Plus merch.
You want to hear something crazy that I thought Messi had played in the Bay Area before, because I went to see Chile and Argentina play in the Copa America when Chile won it. This was like maybe 10 years ago. I thought Messi played in that fucking game. And then I Googled it, and it turns out Messi didn't even play. But I swear to God, I thought Messi was there. Like, it was really weird. It's like this whole time warp. Did I not realize that Messi wasn't even fucking there? I mean, did I really go watch Chile and Argentina play and not even realize that Messi wasn't? And I was like in the fourth row. I was way up there.
It's the nostalgia of being somewhere.
Yeah, but you know what I do remember? Half of that fucking stadium, Messi jerseys. Argentina, fucking Barcelona. I mean, half of that stadium were just rocking Messi jerseys. This was like 10 years ago. It was like the craziest thing. But yeah, like, you know, soccer games in the third world are at a different level. You could get shot, you could get killed. I mean, what's wrong with that? You know, I lived in LA during the riot.
Here's the best part. He's not saying shot or killed like outside or after. He's talking about in the stadium.
My favorite Chilean soccer club. 2 weeks ago, 2 people died in a stampede, dude. Like, I lived in LA during the riots. The scariest time I've ever went through. I went to a game, Colo Colo versus Universidad de Chile. I didn't even realize that they separated the crowds. Like, I was on the wrong end of the crowd. I was a Colo Colo fan, but man, as soon as you walked out, they had these fucking cannons. They're water cannons. They're shooting out. There's pepper spray. I mean, the buses aren't even coming near this place. I mean, it was like a fucking riot, dude.
So,
and this shit happens every weekend.
So there's this book I read. I don't remember why or how. I fucking, you know how it is. We're getting to that age to get the fucking anecdotes, right?
Right.
But I read this book, and it was about a guy who played quarterback. And the only contract somebody could get him was this contract in like Italy, where you had to work at the restaurant, be the quarterback, and he's the only paid player. And they talked about the rivalry of towns shutting down. That shit's real.
Oh yeah.
That shit's real. And so I remember Netflix had like what is it, Rivals or some shit, where they'd show documentaries of different sports and showing the rugby teams and how the crowds are drinking all day and you can't go to this bar because it's not your team bar. And then when you go in, you got to park on this side.
There is
and
such a thing as soccer hooligans.
It is fucking
that's what it. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
It is
Hooligans.
serious.
And
It
just
is no joke.
it's not
Because-
not a game, not for fun. Like
because the capital of Chile, Santiago's got like 5 club teams, right? They got 5 teams. Like it's not like here that you got one team in the capital, one team here. Out here in these countries, but the real difference between the third world and the first world, there are kids who fucking protest. They riot in Chile for a better education. I've never seen kids in America fucking do riots trying to get better education. Out there, they're out there fucking rioting. They're out there protesting because of the class system and shit. But that's the craziest thing. Like, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's the third world. It's like you don't see that shit out here, you know.
no, I think you do. I think the American racism is based on classism.
Yeah.
Just white people don't get that, so it's now racism. Right?
Well,
Instead of and hear me
there
out
is
here.
a sense of classism,
Instead
for
of white people blaming their problems on the rich, they blame it on other minorities, which creates racism. So the
I
poor,
think that can happen.
for a lot of poor white people, instead of them blaming the government for what's going on with them, it's the Mexicans or these people, right?
well, I'm no economist, but
Let me
I
finish.
think-
Let me finish, Skinny. So when you're in like Mexico, there isn't that racism. So now it is poor versus rich, and poor versus poor instead of. Now, yeah, there are classisms and races. I was just thinking, there's not a lot of racism in a lot of third world countries because everybody looks the same.
Right. Well, and again, that's part of what's going on in America. There's absolutely that, but there's a lot of stuff going on.
Oh,
And
I'm
there's
not
actual
disagreeing.
classism where
We're
people-
dealing with that too, but
Hey.
it reminds that I see the.
there are some good things about America, though. Like you're in the third world, you're poor, you don't got running water, you don't got electricity. Like everybody here has running water, they got electricity.
Hold on, sewer system.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's the main difference. You're poor in the third world, you don't got electricity. I hear you got running water, I hear you got electricity. That's what my dad told me. And he grew up out there and stuff. Like that's the main difference. When I was in Chile, I was shocked. They took me to like the ghetto. This place had no electricity. There was no running water. It was just like mud shacks. I never thought I would ever see some shit like that. It was like something out of the 1800s. People like live there like that. But
There's parts of our
Yeah.
country that are like that, but it's with modern appliances,
yeah,
right? They still got cell phones. They're still hustling. And it's just different. Like
do you
I
remember
agree
your
with
first
you.
cell phone? Do you remember your first cell phone? Or what age were you when you got your first one?
so we're at the age where we're old enough to have seen cell phone technology start.
Yeah,
I think I
I
got
remember my first cell phone.
mine was when I came back from college, so 2000 or 2001.
You see, my cell phone, it kept track of how much time I used.
Oh, fuck.
I thought that's how they decided how much time.
Hey, bitch, I'll call you
So-
back after 8 o'clock when I got
Yeah,
3 minutes.
So I didn't realize I was being charged per minute
Oh,
using
God.
these cell phones. That was my first cell phone. Like I didn't realize, they were all like you would buy like a $20 card, but
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I thought it said I used it like 10 minutes. How am I being charged for like hours and hours? Because they have their own rate system.
So I know we're getting at that time. Dante, tell us where we can get everything you got going on. We know your Instagram is right below you in the lower thirds, which is Suitman206.
Yeah.
There you go. And then where else can we get you?
Well, you can find me at soupmancomedy.com, YouTube, Soupman Productions. And then you can go to Heleloa news.com as well. I run Coach B's Corner. There's a blog I'll be doing. There's so much coming once I get to Hawaii. And I tell you this, like in 3, 4, 5 months, you'll start seeing more shows. You'll see more online content. In 2, 3, 4 more years, you'll start seeing movies. You'll start seeing other things. And it's just, this is the beginning of a hostile takeover.
There you go. Right on. And thanks for coming through and not being just some square on a screen. What am I going to shout out? This Friday night, I want you guys to come through. It's Pitch Your Pod, the monthly mixer for aspiring voices and fresh ideas. If you have a podcast idea, join us for a night of creativity, conversation, and cocktails at Ed Studios. That's right. Our sponsor this month is La France Gin, the gin for your skin. We'll find out what that means. Must be 21 and over, must show ID. But come in, pitch us your podcast idea. We'll set up the scene. We'll have you shoot it and take it home or upload it to your socials, and it's yours to keep. Check it out. Again, if you want more information, call us at 650-503-3435. Again, that's 650-503-3435. And we have about 12 spots that we're giving away that night from 6 to 9. So if that's you, you should reach out to us so we can reserve it for you. And yeah, that's it.
I want to do a shout out to the Brady Bunch, their first Hawaiian memories when they were out there. Their whole little tiki doll adventure.
Yeah, I was going to say, leave that tiki doll there.
Tiki doll. You can't. I almost bought a tiki doll. That shit isn't cheap, though. I almost bought one. Like, I was counting on people hooking me up with, like, Amazon gift cards for Christmas. And I was going to end up trying to buy the tiki doll. But I'm still trying to get a tiki doll, goddammit. One day I'm going to buy a tiki doll. I'm just a cheap fucker. My weed habit. Weed is expensive, you know what I'm saying? But shout out to the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, we need to support the JunkYard Rat so we can keep the show going.
Go to Barry Williams.
Get us St.
Check out Barry Williams on Instagram.
Barry Williams.
Go buy your tiki doll.
Yeah, I've got I think 3 of the Brady Bunch on my Facebook friends.
Oh really?
I got Cindy, Greg, and Peter. Something like that. All right.
I don't think I'm friends with any of them. What are you trying to say? God, now you're trying to make me feel bad. You know, I learned how to speak English watching the Brady Bunch, dude. Seriously. I mean, you know what I suggest for you to do if you got any free time? Just watch Spanish television. You'll pick up Spanish in no time and shit. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. People talk to you in Spanish. At least try and say hello. Hola. Say something, goddammit.
On that note, adios, everybody.
Thank you for coming, Dante.
Dante. See, I fucked him up earlier, and I didn't. There we go. All right, guys. We're out of here. We'll see you next time.
It's all about the guns and the coffee.
The guns and the coffee.